John, I've got something in my tooth, like poking in my tooth, and it's driving me wild.
That's annoying, isn't it?
Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to sort this out.
You want to get an electric toothbrush and just jab it in there.
Just jab it in, John.
Jab
Well,
it in.
got rid of it for the time being. Right.
You sorted? What was it anyway? Was it a bit of your tea?
Probably. I don't know. Just swallowed it.
This is Sheer Isolation. It's presented by Kieran Moore in Trowbridge and Jon Ponting in Cricklade. Welcome, everybody. Hello and welcome. You are tuned in to Sheer Isolation. Thank you for joining us. How are you over there, Kieran? How are we doing?
I'm in fine fettle. I'm like a racehorse. Just jumping over furloughs. I am furlongs, not furloughs. Furlongs.
I think you were right the first time.
Okay, yeah, I am. Yeah. Jumping over hedges, hoping, trying not to fall over and get shot. I'm in good shape.
Wonderful, thanks. So we've had some very exciting news in the last week in relation to lockdowns and COVID restrictions. We will cover that later on if that's right, Kieran. But I just did want to ask you one question straight away. As somebody who is active in the music scene, at booking gigs and booking venues and getting music out there, have you already put your plans in motion for unlocking yourself?
That's a really good question. And the answer is kind of. The plans that I did have somewhat been scuppered by the timeline. That's resulted in new plans. Those new plans were not quite what I wanted, and it's all a bit of a pickle, but we'll talk about that later.
This week, we're going to catch up with our interview with Brian Keane, who we spoke to a few weeks ago. We did keep a good 10-15 minutes of that interview spare for another time, and we feel like this is the week that we can share that with you. So we'll be hearing some more from Brian Keane later. We'll be playing some tracks. We'll start with our first track, which is from Phil Cooper and the Lost Trades. Do you want to tell us a bit about it, Kieran?
Well, starters, we can't call it Phil Cooper and the Lost Trades because they are all equal members. So it is just...
Sorry, let me say, Phil Cooper sent it to us from the Lost Trades.
That's better, because I'm telling you, Jamie and Tamsin will not be impressed. So no, we had them on the show last year. Nearly a year's gone by, since, because they were one of the first bands we put on, played on the session. So this is a brand new song from their debut album. It's due to be released in June, and this is a track called Hummingbird.
Hummingbird, you flit from bud to bud, taking what you can, and use up all the sweetness in their fragile frames, and you just leave them empty. Like you did to me, and it's hard to see behind the beauty, another side. Broken wings will never fly. Broken wings will never fly. Satisfies, and you just got to move on. A sweeter scent is carried on the wind. Well, you fed on me, and it's hard to see behind the beauty, another side. Broken wings will never fly. Broken wings will never fly. You flit from bud to bud, taking what you can, and use up all the sweetness in their fragile frames. Then you just leave them empty.
And they are lovely. They're a lovely band. And musically, they're just beautiful. Harmonies, lush. I really think they've got a lot of potential in that band. So we're really hoping for success for them this year.
Yeah, I mean, all three of them are seasoned musicians in the area. And how long they've been doing this trio? It's over a year now, isn't it? Easily over a year.
Well, yeah. So they played their last gig, which was the first gig of the band, as literally the Friday before lockdown. So they were due to go on tour, and then it never happened. So literally their first gig was the last gig of before lockdown for me.
We talk about the three. So there's Phil Cooper, who's a really well-known musician in his own right. You got Jamie Hawkins, and Tamsin Quinn as well.
Tamsin Quinn, yes. And the three-piece. They're multi-instrumentalists, so they swap over instruments. So you can't pin them down to one thing or another. But what they do all have is their harmonies. They can all sing and they all harmonise wonderfully. And it made sense, really, that the sort of three prominent singer-songwriters of the community, of the scene, got together and formed a supergroup. So that's very much what it is.
It is. It's a Wiltshire supergroup. Nicely put.
Wiltshire supergroup.
Have you got any product placement this week, Kieran? You can say no, it's fine.
No, I do actually, and I've not prepared it because I am lame. So let me go and get it.
Okay.
Because I love this.
We're being so professional about this week. Here he is. I was wondering whether I should start telling jokes or something while I was waiting, but never mind, you're back now.
I'm back now. So this is the coolest thing. So first of all, I received this in the post. It's Alpha Male Tea Party, and it's their third album called Infinity Stare. But the most coolest thing is they had the vinyl pressed up onto Cornetto vinyl. It's like looking on a Cornetto. How cool is that?
The designs of vinyl now are getting incredibly abstract, aren't they?
They're getting out of hand, John. They're getting out of hand. I know people that buy all the variants. So they'll buy 3 copies of an album because they want it on black, white, and coloured. It's like, come on, how do you have all that much money? So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, cheers for that, Kieran. Thank you. It is time for us to talk about this week's guest. And as I mentioned in the opening link, this week we're going back to listen to the second part of our interview that we completed with Brian Keane. Now, Brian is a very well-known sound technician across Swindon. Does sound tech, or has done sound tech at all the venues across town. Really famous face in the various pubs and clubs across Swindon and beyond. He has now retired, and he's gone off and living on the canal network on a boat, him and Denise. So we caught up with him, and this is part 2 of our chat. You don't mind me using the word legendary when it comes to you being a legendary sound tech around Swindon. You've left quite a gap to fill as well.
Well, it would be nice to still be doing it, but there's nothing to do, is there?
No, there's not.
No gigs. You can't have gigs. I've got PA systems sitting there gathering dust.
Where are they sat?
I'm not telling you that.
Not on the boat, I'm guessing. It'd sink.
Not on the boat,
No.
So, Brian, obviously you used to be a sound engineer, but you are retired. When did you retire? When did you actually quit the business, as it were?
Well, we bought the boat in February, first week in February, and so it was just about then, really. Just before.
So literally before this all kicked off, you just hung up your boots at the right time.
Yeah. Well, it should have done it a bit earlier. Then I might have sold my kit because nobody's buying it.
You can still sell it, but people just want to offer silly low prices now. So hang on to it for a little bit longer. So, Brian, you used to be the sound engineer at Riffs, didn't you? Is that right?
Yeah, for quite a long while with Andy. No, I loved Riffs. I thought that was best venue around Swindon, although it wasn't quite. It was sort of outside.
Yeah.
The problem is that people don't like travelling to go out to gigs and things, so. It's a bit outside there, but I thought I had the best atmosphere of any of the Swindon venues, and really enjoyed working there. But there you go. It's another one gone.
In the summer, when you were when it was like festival season, pretty much every night or every weekend, you would be in a bar or at a venue doing the sound for something or other. You were relentless.
Yeah, we did the Running Horse, acoustic sessions at the Running Horse, and various other ones around at the Crown, the Rat Trap.
Oh, Rat Trap, yeah.
Various others, and then we put on quite a few one-day events, trying to cram in as many acts in one day as possible. I think the biggest one was the Running Horse. We did it was 11 till 11 basically.
How many acts did you have? What was your record?
It was it was one every 40 minutes with a 10-minute turnaround, so you work that one out. But that was probably the biggest one, in number of acts.
I was going to ask, Brian, are there any particular events or evenings or gigs that just jump back into your memory as being a particularly good party or a particularly good night?
There's a festival that happens called the Upton Blues Festival, which is a brilliant little festival. And we were tipped off about the guy that was running the acoustic stage at the time, and it was quite a small affair then. They were looking for somebody else to do it because he was getting busier and everything. So I sort of wrote to them and said I do sound and everything. And basically I got the position of running the acoustic stage. And that was always a really, it's an amazing little festival. And it's the way they fund it and everything is incredible, and it's a free festival, and they have some really top line bands there.
Is Upton Blues Festival free? I didn't realise that.
Free, it's all free, and it's a 3-day festival, and it has 3 main stages, 2 outdoors, and the acoustic stage is a smaller stage, but that's one of the 3 main stages, and then there's 12 pubs that all have stages as well. So the committee is sort of mainly responsible for the 3 main stages, but all the pubs in the town all
do their own thing.
And it's about 26,000 people attend.
Yeah, I know it's a significant one.
It's my favourite. Did it for, I think it was about 5 or 6 years. We weren't just doing the sound, we actually organised all the acts on the stage as well, so it was quite.
You got to be a programmer as well at the same time.
Yeah, did the whole thing. Yeah.
I'm going to say, Brian, is there anything that you miss?
I miss the involvement with music now, but then again, I'm going I'm going blind and I'm going a bit deaf now, so
It's a rock and roll.
Oh, yeah, no, I was amazed I got through that far without any damage to my hearing, especially some of the rock gigs that we did, but I seem to have got away with it, but now I'm getting all the tinnitus and the other things. There you go. I got through it and got out of it before then.
I remember because we did that radio show for several years at Swindon, and there were several stories that you would kind of go back to and said, "Oh, I nearly died in that occasion." You've had so many near misses through your life.
Yeah,
it's stuck in my mind. But I was doing this gig, I nearly died that night.
Well, the biggest thing there was I used to. I doubt if you remember a band called Ace, and they had a song called "How Long Has This Been Going On?"
Oh yeah.
I used to share. They had the flat below me. I had the attic flat in a place. So there was a furniture shop below, and then we had the 2 floors. And basically, we'd had a party because I'd just come back from a gig then, and we'd had a bit of a party. Some of the guys that were playing at the gig came back, and then it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. There was a hammering on my door, and one of the guys from downstairs come up, and he was saying, "Get up! You've got to get up. The place is on fire." So basically, I thought it was a wind up. Anyway, I opened the door, and there was this. It was really weird because when I opened the door, the smoke was thick black smoke, and it didn't move. It was like solid. So I opened the door, and there was this wall of smoke. So I shut the door again, got dressed, ran down. Now I was up on the basically ground floor, first floor, second floor, and I had to run down the stairs, not knowing how long this fire had been going for. And I was running down the staircase, thinking, "Am I going to go through this? You know, if the fire's been burning underneath." Anyway, when I got out the side door on the side of the shop was fully alight, and basically all the other guys were standing on the other side of the road. And as I came out and started running across the road, I was halfway across the road, and the whole front of the shop imploded. Flames going up. So it was that close. It was very close.
Wow.
I was homeless then for a little while.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah.
You don't miss that then, no?
No. Things happen.
They do.
That's what happens when you live above a band. I'm sure that kind of thing still happens today.
Yeah, it probably does.
Great band.
Yes, yeah. Obviously, that's like you say, that song. How long has it been going on? Is a classic.
Yeah.
Sing it to you, but it's on every dad rock album ever.
Yeah, classic bass line. That's my mate Tex. Really nice guy.
Sorry, I was just going to ask, now that you're living the canal life and doing your Prunella Scales impression, what is the plan when lockdown's over?
Well, we see where we are now. We've already been here, and the plan was to travel around before I can't see anymore. And so basically, we've had to come back here because we were chasing tier 2 areas.
Right.
So we came back down here and then got trapped in a tier 4, and now we're in lockdown. So, but basically, our plan was to go up north. So when we're free from here, we're probably going to go up where?
Up the Coventry.
Up the Coventry Canal, across the Trent and Mersey.
And then down to Shropshire Union.
Yeah, we're going to go to the Shropshire Union and
possibly the Llangollen in Wales.
Yeah, Llangollen in Wales, which is where we ultimately want to get to. It's a lovely canal, that.
Yeah, I bet. Wales is beautiful.
Yeah. Well, this on the water as well, because the Llangollen Canal, there's loads of things to see and do as well. So you're not just going on the canal. There's lots of places you can go and have a look at.
You're not missing your live music then, Bri?
I do miss live music. I do miss music a lot. We're sort of, because when we moved, I mean, the boat's 55 foot long, but it's 6 foot wide. You're living in a corridor, so we've given away virtually everything we owned. We either sold it or gave it away. All the instruments, all the CDs, DVDs. So basically, we've just got a few bits and pieces now. But one of the things about living on the boat is you have to downsize, which is great because that you get this thing where people say don't buy a sofa. If you buy a sofa, you've got to have somewhere to put it. You live in a house, and then you can't move because you've got a sofa. Your possessions sort of tie you down.
Yeah.
Basically, one of the nice things about living on a boat is you get rid of all that, or most of it. We still got a lock-up full of PA kit that we're trying to get rid of. But
was that a liberating feeling to get rid of it all?
It is, yeah, it is.
Oh, good.
But the fact that on a boat you can have a different front garden every day. You've got a different outlook. When you're travelling, you wake up somewhere different every day. It's really nice.
I went to Bradford-on-Avon for a walk the other day because it's within 5 miles for me, so I'm allowed to go there and go for a walk. And I walked down the towpath and we walked past a high number of boats. And I've decided that living on a boat is not for me.
Cool. So that was us chatting to Brian. We wish him well on his retirement, and hopefully when the lockdown easing kicks in, then him and Denise can unanchor themselves. Do you anchor a narrowboat? I don't know.
No, you don't anchor a narrowboat. You stake it to the riverbank.
Yeah, so they will unstake themselves, and we will never see them again. Hopefully we'll catch them before they disappear.
That's hilarious.
What, unstaking themselves? Are you thinking meat or vampire?
I was thinking vampire.
Right. I was just watching What We Do in the Shadows just before we came on.
I love that. It's so good.
Anyway, which came out of New Zealand. That's a freaky link.
It is a freaky link.
In New Zealand. So there you go. You asked me to pick a track. I have picked a new track. Normally I dive into the archive to see what's in there, but I was aware. You know, you get those random posts that occasionally pop up on Facebook and you think, oh, I haven't heard from that person for ages and ages. I wonder what they're up to. So it's a musician called Jon Shilibeer who lived in Malmesbury for quite a while. And when I was doing open mics and running the 4on4 project, he would pop up now and then, play a few tracks, really good guitarist, and he would go off and do other bits in and around North Wiltshire, and then kind of drifted apart. And then last week I got this post flash up saying, oh, John's got a new track out. So I had a listen. So his new band is called Fear of Ghosts. And it transpires that he now lives in Auckland. So his new band is based in New Zealand. And watching this video, I went to New Zealand about 15, 16 years ago. Watching this video just took me right back. It's filmed all across the Aotearoa and around that part of, I think that's the North Island. Someone's going to correct me. There's a 50-50 chance either North or South Island.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's for anyone who does know of Jon Shilibeer and wonder what he's up to, this is what he's doing.
Shifting wind blows sand in my eye as island nations sink below the rising tide. Bushfires rage across Van Diemen's Land. It's hard to stand by and witness this firsthand. The sickly smart that coats Los Angeles, plastic waste and Nile spills that pollute our open seas. The polar caps are melting under the glare of a burning sun. A world held hostage under the scope of the copper gun. Magnetic fields. There's talk on the radio. Magnetic fields. But you hear it in stereo. Magnetic fields. There's talk on the radio. Magnetic fields. But you hear it in stereo. The acid rain that burns my eyes from empty promises and political lies. Across the wasteland, the children have been magnetic fields. There's talk on the radio, magnetic fields. But you hear it in stereo, I'm walking the talk, you know.
Okay, so that was Fear of Ghosts with their new track Magnetic Fields. So they're based in New Zealand, featuring a band member who is an ex-Malmesbury lad. So,
And you're friends with him on Facebook, aren't you?
I am, and as I say, I've not heard from him for years and years, and all of a sudden it just, as the Facebook algorithm does, it just throws something at you. It's like, that's what he's up to now.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Right.
Excellent.
I think we should hand over to news because I'm just going to let you chat, Kieran. It's been a busy week for news.
It's been a great week. Well, let's just go straight in with the announcement of the roadmap and getting ourselves unlocked. So, this roadmap is absolutely fantastic in the sense that it's giving us provided all things go plan and the R rate stays down, it's given us a timeline of when things can happen. So the kids go back on the 8th of March. So the kids go back in about 2 weeks. And then we've got until the middle of April. So you've got about a month to see how that pans out, which, to be honest, I can't see going too well. But nevertheless, we're going to mix all those kids and it's all going to be fine. Then once nothing bad's happened there, we're going to have the driving performances, test pilots, event pilots can begin, and so on and so forth. Then a month later, the 17th of May, that's when venues can reopen and they can be open at 50% capacity. So in theory, the week beginning the 17th of May, which is a Monday, that week we can start doing events again. And that is absolutely fantastic. I was alluding in the previous weeks building up to today that I would be doing some events at Town Hall in Trowbridge. We were going to do Saturdays in May. We thought that would be far enough away, Saturdays in May. But this roadmap's come out. They've said can't start before the 17th, so that's great. And I've been having conversations with the venue today, with Jess and David, and what they want to achieve now is instead of doing, one-off events building up to it, they want to do a really big event on the weekend of the 28th.
Within a couple of days of that being announced on the Monday, we heard from the Swindon Shuffle with a brand new weekend of in September. I think they're doing it now, and confirming their lineup and venues.
And
also,
with the Swindon Shuffle, for anybody who doesn't know, the Swindon Shuffle is named the Shuffle because the concept behind it is that every venue in Swindon is involved and the audience is not spread thinly between lots of venues. What the idea is you start at one and you basically go on a pub crawl around all the venues.
I also saw earlier on the 2000 Trees Festival, which is the one you normally mention. They've said that they've seen this as a green light, so they are business as usual.
Yeah, that is very optimistic.
Mid-July.
Mid-July.
Yeah, bigger festival though.
Second weekend of July. It's normally the 9th, 10th, 11th, around that sort of time. However, their festival is an international bands festival. Now, I think that is even, yes, we're going out of lockdown. It ends in June. The 21st is apparently the last day of lockdown, and after the 21st, everything goes back to normal. Even so, that doesn't necessarily apply to America, and a lot of the bands are American. Will international travel happen? I don't know. I believe the festival will go ahead, but I think the lineup their advertising is not going to be the lineup. But we'll see.
You've heard it here first. Kieran is an expert in that. He knows his stuff. We'll have to look at the lineup when it gets to that time. sheerisolation@gmail.com is the email address if you want to send us any videos or just have a chat to us. That is where you find us. Kieran, I think I'm going to have to let you go and sort out your children because they're running rampage through the house this evening. They
are rampage through the house. I mean, in a nice way, they're a fun way, but they hurt each other and then you sort of give it a kiss back and they carry on and as if nothing had happened. So I'm not worried. I mean, yes, she's bleeding profusely, but it's just a scratch. We've all seen Monty Python. Just a flesh wound.
Parenting 101, courtesy of Kieran Moore. Right, we will and thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Us. Thank you for joining everybody. Thank you for joining the world. We'll be back next week with music, guests, all the usual stuff. Leave it at that then, Kieran. Cheers. Thanking you all.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Later. Bye-bye.